Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. For me, it's good afternoon from Cairo. I just want to start by welcoming all of you in our fourth session of the ARIJ Foundations Forum members-led sessions. Those sessions are really designed by our members who want to discuss certain subject matters and increase awareness about a specific topic amongst the AFF larger network. And I believe that today's session is quite timely, and we are all going to learn a lot from it, I'm sure. Today's session is led by the Arab Reporters for Investigative Journalism, ARIJ. ARIJ is a non-profit foundation built on human rights principles. Since the year 2006, it has nurtured a culture of investigative journalism for journalists in more than 16 countries in the Middle East and North Africa. It became the only and leading mother network that joins regional investigative journalism efforts, and now it strives to deepen the ecosystem of accountable investigative journalism in the Arab world. ARIJ's mission is to empower brave and committed journalists, editors, and fact-checkers to produce high-quality, verified, fact-based, and ethical accountability journalism, presented in innovative digital storytelling formats. Today's session will be very interactive and very engaging, where ARIJ will show you how adopting artificial intelligence tools can boost productivity and effectiveness, from translation and time management to text and image generation. The session will also discuss the important ethical considerations that come with using AI for work. By the end of the interactive workshop, you will have a clearer roadmap for implementing an AI strategy that aligns with your values of transparency and inclusivity, ensuring that you feel confident and supported as you integrate these innovative technologies into your daily work. Well, at this stage, I would like to introduce our moderator for the session, Samia Aish, the Communications Manager at ARIJ. Samia joined ARIJ as a Communications Manager in 2021. She is an independent journalist and digital media trainer based in Dubai, UAE. Samia focuses on visual storytelling in her work and seeks to create innovative ways to promote news story through diverse digital platforms. Samia was the first teaching fellow for the Google News Initiative in the Middle East and North Africa. Before joining Google, Samia worked as a video and social media producer for CNN Arabic in Dubai. Samia holds a master's degree in new media and communication from the University of Sharjah and a Bachelor of Science in Multimedia Design from the American University of Sharjah. Before I give the floor to Samia, just a couple of housekeeping rules, if possible. It would be great if you can mute your microphones. Please add your affiliation and organization next to your name by changing your names. It would be great if you can have your cameras on so we can make the session as interactive as possible. And lastly, for questions, please add your questions to the chat and we will be taking them one by one throughout the session. Samia, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Walid, and thanks, Nihal, for taking good care of me to prepare this session. We've been preparing for this for a very long time, so I'm hoping that it's going to be as interactive and as and answering a lot of your questions on the use of AI in your work. So let me just start by sharing my screen. Okay, so just Walid, thumbs up if you can see my screen. Great, wonderful. So let's start. So for the next 90 minutes or so, we are going to be talking today about a very important thing that's happening in our lives these days. And every day we're starting to hear more about it. There is a lot of developments, a lot of tools, a lot of use cases that we are hearing about, and that is simply through the use of artificial intelligence. So today I'm going to be taking you through a journey, let's call it, to talk about the AI tools that we use in ARIJ, and we also recommend that that you use, whether it's for translation, for editing, for image generation, for text generation, but of course, taking into consideration a lot of the ethical values and the ethical things that we need to pay attention to whenever we use these AI tools, because at the end of the day, these are tools. They can be used for the good side, they can be used for the bad side as well, and they can also impact our lives and our work in different ways. I guess Walid gave a very great introduction about ARIJ, but of course, I also wanted to leave our website and our email. I'm going to send you my email at the end of the session, but in case you need maybe more information about ARIJ, interested in working, partnering with us, we have a forum that is coming up in December. I'm going to leave the registration link in the chat as well, for anybody who is interested to attend, whether in person or virtually, as we talk a lot about things like, in investigative journalism, fact-checking, AI, mental health safety, and a lot of other topics. So I'll leave that towards the end of the session. I also encourage you to just in the chat, if you want to let us know who you are, what organization are you affiliated with, while I'm speaking, so that this is a room where everybody kind of knows each other. About me, and I guess also Walid gave a very good introduction about me. So we are going to skip that also for the sake of time. But it's also my honor and my pleasure to be with you talking about this topic. So I want to start our talk for the day by asking you a question. Are you currently using any AI tools? If you are currently using anything that has to do with AI, if you can add it to the chat, it would be great. And if it's a no, like Lama said, it's absolutely okay. I mean, there is no shaming here. And please, if you are using, just be honest and say that I use ChatGPT for writing emails sometimes or so. So it whatever you're using, just let us know. I can see a lot of ChatGPTs, Canva, Gemini, Copilot. Great. So if you've answered with a yes, please just list the tool that you're using. I'm seeing a lot of, again, ChatGPT, Gemini, which is great, Copilot, amazing. So there is great. So chatbots. So there is some kind of use of AI tools in our work, as I can see, and I'm sure you're using it for different things, whether you're working in marketing or in translation or in business pitches or in academics or any other field. You are using AI in some way or the other. Now, the other thing that I really want to stress upon is the fact that even the people who said no, they are actually using AI tools. Because if you are on Gmail, for example, you are using AI because sometimes Gmail suggests, for example, a continuation for certain sentences. So that's AI. Sometimes you might add certain addresses to be sent to, and then it suggests multiple other addresses to be added. That is also AI. So AI has become a very big, or plays a very big role in all the tools and all the platforms that we are using today. Today, we're not going to be talking about those, of course, because we're going to be mostly talking about AI tools that depend on what we call generative AI. So generative AI is the term that describes the tools that are helping us generate things from scratch. So there was nothing, and we're just creating things. So whether it's creating videos or creating photos or text or even audio material, that is what we're going to be talking about in terms of AI tools. But before we start, let's play a game. So what I want to do is the following. I am going to take this link and I'm going to paste it in your chat. So everybody log into this website. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. Once you log in, you should see the screen that I am sharing, which says quick draw, and then it's asking you to, with a button, let's draw. So the idea here is if you press on let's draw, it's going to show you some words. So for example, here it says mushroom, and in under 20 seconds, you have to draw a mushroom. So if I go to got it, and then I start drawing, for example, things like this. Okay, so
I see circle. Oh, I know. It's mushroom.
It's a mushroom, so it guessed it. A boomerang. I'm gonna try, and you don't have to be artists, by the way, to do that. A traffic light, and so on. So I want everybody to finish this game, which is not gonna take you time. It's gonna just take like a couple of minutes. And then at the end, it's gonna give you a score. So I want everybody who tried the game to post their scores in the chat. And let's see who is, okay, I'm not gonna say who's the artist, because we're not trying to judge who's the artist here, but I'm adding this as an introduction to something very important that I'm going to talk to you about in a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to finish and post your score. And if you have any questions, of course, please write them in the chat. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions.
Baseball bat.
So at the end, you should get a screen that is similar to the one that I'm sharing, with the drawings that you did, and then the score that is given to you at the top. So the score is simply how many doodles did the tool figure out at the end. Okay, Alexander, 5. That's very good, actually. Good. Let's see what the rest, how the rest did. Okay, 2, 3. I'm seeing numbers coming up the screen. 5, 4, 3. Great. 2. Okay. By the way, if you're getting a low score, it's actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Let's see why. I'll show you in a minute, in less than a minute. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5. Hala, you want to play again? Great. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm happy that you like this game. So, what you just did is that you contributed to the world's largest doodling data set. So if I press here on this link, which takes me to the world's largest doodling data set, is that I can see a lot of drawings that other users or other people drew on this tool. And the more drawings people who are playing would add, it makes it easier for the tool to learn what the shape is. So for example, let's go to the octopus. So if you go to the octopus, you are going to see 143,558 octopus drawings made by real people. So everybody who logged into this game made these drawings. And the more drawings that we have, the better for the tool it is going to be to understand what an octopus looks like. If it's drawn like this, or if it's drawn like this, for example. And that's exactly how AI works. So any AI tool works by depending or learning from data. And that's not a few data, that's a lot of data, like what we're seeing here right now. So this game is kind of an introduction into how AI works in real life. So when we talk about translation, for example, how does the system translate? It translates because there is a huge data set of different words that mean different other words in other languages, which the system learns from and understands how to adapt them for your own translation. And the same thing applies to when you ask, for example, ChatGPT to generate text, or when you ask tools like Midjourney to generate an image, or so on. So the most important thing is the data sets that's organized, that is easy for the system to understand, and so on. And that's why there is also a lot of controversy going on at the moment of where do tools such as, for example, ChatGPT and other tools get their data from, something that we can touch upon when we talk about those tools. So I gave you a new game that you can play with, your colleagues, your family, and so on. And at the same time, make it easier for people to understand what AI is. So because our session talks about tools, so let's jump right away into the 10 tools that focus on different areas and that can help us in different ways to do our work. And plus, at the end, I have a bonus tool that I'm going to show you, but it's actually a fun tool. So it has nothing to do with, our daily work and so on, but it is a fun tool to play with. So the first tool, of course, that I saw a lot of people on the chat using, which is ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is mainly categorized, or mainly it's categorized as a tool that has conversational abilities. I mean, you can sit with you can sit on your computer, you can chat, with the system and ask it anything that you want. And it will be able to help you with a lot of your queries to some extent. Things that it can assist with are, for example, writing. So for the people who wrote ChatGPT, when it comes to writing, what sort of writing do you usually ask ChatGPT to do? Please write it in the chat. We'll have a look at it in a bit, just to see the different types of writing queries that people can that it helps people with. Lama said rephrasing a business email to send. That's great. I mean, sometimes I don't feel like I am myself and I write things that I'm not 100% sure of. So I usually take it to ChatGPT and I either ask it to rewrite the whole thing in a better way, or maybe give me something similar. But because I want, for example, some a certain level of language or some use of certain vocabularies and so on. So it can serve as an assistant with writing, whether it's writing emails, writing press releases, writing business pitches, sometimes writing some sort of like a social media post if you're working in marketing and so on. Now, the most important thing that we focus on when we talk about ChatGPT is that be careful with what you feed it, because a lot of the data or a lot of the information that you feed to these GPTs helps in them learning, in them understanding for future, the same thing that we saw just now with the doodling. So there are certain types of data, information that we don't want to go to the public. So be careful with what you add to ChatGPT. Of course, it helps a lot with learning and tutoring. I was amazed the other day. My eighth grade son, he was just, scanning. He was just putting the camera on the math equations, and it would help him in solving without him even doing anything. Of course, this is a no-no for us, but it's amazing the level of how these tools are, creating and becoming into. Hannah is saying summarizing documents. Absolutely, whether it's summarizing documents, whether it is translating, whether it is, as we said, creating social media posts for different platforms. So a LinkedIn post would be different than a Twitter post, different than a Facebook post. I'm sorry, I still call it Twitter for some reason. So don't mind me on that, please. Productivity assistance. So sometimes I need some quick ideas on how to manage my day, or I need a quick plan on how to put a media campaign or a social media campaign. So I can definitely do that with ChatGPT. The other thing is I can also generate images with a plugin that is part of ChatGPT, which is called DALL-E. Now, DALL-E used to be for paid subscribers. It is still for paid subscribers, but every day, free users can use or can generate 2 images using DALL-E, and I'm going to show you in a bit. And then you can also use it to, for fun and creative tasks. So in addition to my job as a communication manager for ARIJ, I'm also a children books writer, and I do a lot of workshops for children. So, I'm not a painter or an artist, so I use ChatGPT to generate coloring drawings or coloring papers for me to assist with my workshops. So I just want to go to ChatGPT just to show you, but I'm gonna stop share because I'm gonna go to another screen. And please, if you have any questions, I am very happy to answer all your questions. So please don't forget to write them in the chat. So of course, everybody's familiar with ChatGPT. You log here, you write your prompt. So prompt, that's a very interesting word. It means what I want the ChatGPT to do for me. And prompting, it's actually becoming an art. So you are going to see a lot of trainings that are titled The Art of Prompting or Prompt Engineering or things like that. So it is a big thing. And I advise you to actually look at some of these trainings because they are going to help you with the way you write your prompts. So one piece of advice, minding the time, that I can give you regarding prompts is that start by giving it an order. So draw, translate, do this, do that, summarize, produce. So anything that starts with with an order, with like asking it to do something, is actually a very good start for any prompt. Another thing to pay attention to is not to include words that are contradicting each other. So create a tall or draw a tall man who's short. That doesn't work, of course, but try to be clear with your prompts. Try to make it short, and try to be to use simple words, not the words that are complicated and could be understood by those tools in different ways. So, for example, I want to write a prompt. So, produce a social media campaign for the upcoming ARIJ forum, for example. And let's say what is it gonna give me? So it's gonna list everything that we've talked about in terms of like the goal, the messages, timeline, the plan. It's because I was able to write a prompt that is straightforward, that identifies a subject. So there is the action, which is produce, and there's also a subject. What do I want to produce? What do I want to write? What do I want to summarize? And so on. And the more straightforward the prompt is, the better the result is gonna look like. Now, the other thing that I wanted also to show you on ChatGPT is the plugins that you can find on the side. So for example, this is the DALL-E that we've talked about, which is the plugin that produces images. So for example, let's ask it to create a photograph of a traditional market in Amman, Jordan. Let's say, let's ask it for that. Of course, we need more details sometimes when it comes to photos, but prompting for photos is actually different, and it would need another 90 minutes to do it. So while it's doing that, I'm going to show you later another tool that we use for creating images. And I'm going to tell you the difference between this tool and that tool. So this is the images. Of course, these are the images that it produced. And as you can see, they are kind of like, they're not realistic. They're not real photographs of a market. They're just more of like drawings or maybe illustrations and so on. And the difference and the reason for that is that when we talk about ChatGPT, DALL-E in specific, the tool which we use to produce images, it mainly goes towards the artistic side of production. So it makes sure that whatever it produces is more on the artistic, the unrealistic aspect of how the imagery or how the visualizations look like. And that has somehow to do with the ethical aspect of how real you can portray things in these photographs. Whereas when we talk about Midjourney in a bit, we're going to show pictures that are more towards the real look of the subject that we're trying to portray in those images. Of course, these images you can download, you can use, and that brings me to a very important point, which is credit or attribution. And there is a lot of controversy going on these days on how do we credit these images? Are these images credited as generated by AI, or should we, mention the name of the tool? Now, the most important thing to keep in mind is whatever you use AI for, whether it's for images, whether it's for text, whether it's for videos, or for anything else, is that you have a clear label that says AI generated. So you have generated this completely with AI, or maybe it's AI assisted. So for example, for example, I wrote something and I'm not very happy with it. So I asked ChatGPT to fix it for me. So in that sense, I used ChatGPT to help me with producing that particular piece. So the most important thing is to be transparent and to add whether this is AI generated or AI assisted across all the different tools. Now, another thing that we've noticed, I mean, we've worked with internally and we've worked with different journalists through our Journalism AI Academy, and we've mingled with people who try to adopt AI in their work, and there is always that sense of shaming. People don't tend to share that they have used AI because they believe or they think that the other side or the other person would think that they're not willing to work, they're too lazy, they don't want to trouble themselves, they don't want to put energy or effort in that particular piece. So there is that culture of shaming. And I believe that we should be kind of fighting that. And we fight that through being transparent. And we encourage people to be transparent about the use of AI within their work, because and whether we like it or we don't, this is becoming a reality. It's becoming part of the everyday work that we're doing. And it's not just work, it's everything. I mean, sometimes I want to set, for example, I want to write my own film. So I throw some ideas and I ask it to help me. Sometimes I want to come up with some ideas for, my gym routine or my food program or things like that. So AI is becoming, and generative AI is becoming, a very important aspect of our everyday life, and we should be paying attention not to shame and not to hide, because transparency in these matters is very important for fighting that culture that we've just spoken about. What I want us to do, I think I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to share my whole screen so I don't keep on running between the different, what do you call it? Okay, the different screens, sorry. Okay, so what I want us to do right now is just something very quick. It's very important. I mean, the use of tools is important, but the most important is to understand why would I use this tool first in the first place. So what I want you to do is in the chat, I want you to write a prompt for something that is related to your work that you would ask ChatGPT to do. And then I also want you to write another prompt for another thing that is nothing that has to do with your work. It has nothing to do with your work. So maybe it has to do with your readings. It has to do with watching films, maybe with going to exercise outside. So let's take a couple of minutes to write those in the chat. And it would also be a good opportunity to, you know, try to figure out which prompts are or work better than others. So let's go ahead and do that. And by the way, ChatGPT works with all languages. If you are an Arabic speaker, then ChatGPT works very well in Arabic, including translation, which we're going to be talking about in a bit. So Alice wrote, summarize the minutes from our board meeting. Okay, so great. Probably with this, you might need to, you know, like add a recording or, you know, like if you have like a big document, maybe you need to add that so that it understands what it needs to summarize. But for summarizing board meetings, especially if they are recorded, I'm going to show you in a bit a very good tool that can help you with that, with extra AI features that are very supportive. Outline the steps for writing a screenplay. Good. Alice, if you are a fan of screenplays, that makes us two in this room. So very happy that you've added that prompt. Kurt, answer the question about personal experience mediated through gender identity. Okay, excellent. That's kind of, I think that's kind of like a kind of a broad prompt. Maybe we just need to, because at the end of the day, we don't want to get answers that are general. We want to get answers that are specific to our prompt. So so that would help it. I am writing a marketing plan for the feeding program. What components should I include? Is that a question for me or for ChatGPT? I'm a little bit confused, Mohammed. So if you can just clarify that, it would help.
It's for
Jalan,
ChatGPT. For
yes, go ahead.
ChatGPT.
For ChatGPT, okay, great. So you're asking ChatGPT. See, I got confused a little bit between me and ChatGPT. Never mind. Thank you very much for clarifying. Jala, new ways to raise funds on Giving Day at universities. Great, that's a very good prompt to ask. Not work-related, difference between cream caramel and cream brulee. Wow, what a great thing to ask. Hannah, give me the main principles of One Health approach. Now, you're going to notice with health issues or with health prompts, it's going to be a little bit cautious. So it's going to tell you to, you know, consult with your MD or ask your doctor or things like that before it can give you any clear result on that. So that's the only thing that is one of the limitations of using ChatGPT. Writing a memoir of my life for my grandson. Oh, that is so cute. I mean, I would definitely love to read such a memoir. But I guess there is a lot of data that needs to be fed into ChatGPT in order to do that. Thank you, Kurt. Marwa, work-related, create an interactive activity related to critical thinking skill to be given to youth aged. Amazing. That is such a great example because you started with a verb, you describe the subject, which is the interactive activity. So you did not just include activity. And then you even specified things that has to do with the audience. So who's this targeting? What are we trying to develop and things like that. Great work. I'm very happy with all the prompts that are appearing in front of me. So if you have more, please do add them. Would love to read more. Write an outline for a certain project's action plan. So I would assume that a certain project would actually have that project, but that's a good start. Thank you, Hala. Hannah, what I can do to decrease my stress being a working mother. That's a very good point and a very good prompt. Again, sometimes if there is any health issue, it's gonna, of course, at some point in the result, it's gonna refer you or ask you to ask or consult with your MD or with your doctor. So that would actually help. Not non-work related, does drinking yerba mate, okay, I'm sorry if I'm reading this for the first time, satisfy the daily water intake indeed. Again, this is great, but we just have to be, not to be disappointed if it's not going to give us any answer that actually answers the prompts that we're asking for. Great, Marwa, thank you very much. Aya suggests a workout routine for someone who works a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week. That's excellent, and a lot of people do it actually. Act as a journalist, write a neutral article about the comparison of the American elections in 500 words. I guess you just gave ChatGPT the most difficult prompt ever, but that's a good one. Thank you very much, Khalil. Lama, best way to writing quarterly report. I have to agree. And to be honest, that's one of my main goals for next year, to actually start, understanding how can I employ AI and such tools in writing reports. But again, we have to be careful with what data do we feed to those tools. Thank you very much, Lama. Hala, I recently uploaded my blood test results and asked to explain it, and it did a great job and told me what to ask my doctor specifically. Amazing. That is great. Thank you very much, Hala, for sharing that. See, so it's not just helping us with our work, it's helping us with a lot of things that we face in our daily life. Okay, great. So let's move on. And by the way, I forgot to tell you also about the new feature that was added recently to ChatGPT, which is the search. So one of the main issues with ChatGPT in the past was the lack of resources. So if you're asking about business skills or American elections or water intake or anything like that, it would just give you the text without any resources. And if you're working in journalism and, in the media in particular, and even in any field, this is kind of tricky because we need to know what are the resources that we're depending on. But now ChatGPT has offered the opportunity for any text that is produced or any generated text to have the resources of where it brought that information from, which is very important towards producing more credible kind of texts and so on, because at the end of the day, you can always go back to that particular website that it referred you to, and it can show you, or you can definitely go through it and do some fact checking. But without having any resources, you wouldn't even know whether it even got it from credible resources or not. I'm seeing more prompts, which is great. So Hadil wrote, what digital skills do business owners need to run their businesses? That's such a good one. If you get the answer, please let me know. I would be very happy to read that as well. Take the persona of a Microsoft SharePoint professional. Show me how to build a site for collaboration. That is such a great prompt. So I'm really, it's very interesting that you've mentioned things like, imagine you are this, or you are this, and so on. So that's also something that we usually use in writing prompts. Hala is asking, I noticed earlier that the reference were not accurate. Does this mean it's not more, it is now more reliable? I would say it is more reliable because you have the resources. So once you have the resource, you are able to go and see, is this a resource that I can trust? Is this a resource that is credible and that shows me where they got their information from, compared to the past where you don't have that, so you don't even know whether it's getting their the information from from credible resources or not. So yes, the answer I would say is it is becoming more credible. So more credible, but not just to take it as is just because it has resources, but now your task of checking the resources is easier, and that's the main difference. Hadil is asking, this feature is currently not found on my ChatGPT window. Does it have to be downloaded? It has to be there. Maybe you just need to sometimes, clear your cache, or maybe just, close your application, restart it again, and so on. So try that, but it should be definitely, and there's also a Chrome extension for it. So you can even download your Chrome extension, and it's instead of going directly to the website. Great. I'm very happy with all the beautiful comments and questions that you're writing. So Walid, I guess this is an interactive session after all. Great.
Yeah, this is great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. So please, and if you remember any question, even after we've missed, passed to the next tools, please write them down. The second tool that I want to show you is Midjourney. So Midjourney is a tool that produces or generates images out of text, and you can do a lot of editing with those images that you are producing. So let me just, take you through. Can you still see my screen? It shows ChatGPT now. Yeah. Okay, great. So, and by the way, I think Walid, maybe we should inform everybody that everybody's getting a tip sheet, which is a sheet that has all the tools that we've covered today. So, I mean, if you are looking for the website or the link, you are going to get it. Don't worry. Okay, so Midjourney is a tool that, as we said, generates text. So let's go to the same prompt that we wrote back in DALL-E and ask it for create a photograph of a traditional market in Amman showing vegetables and fruits while people are walking in the market, and let's see what kind of an outcome it's going to produce. Now, the important thing is that another important use for ChatGPT is actually producing prompts for other tools. So if I go to ChatGPT and, for example, create a prompt for Midjourney to create an image for a traditional market in Amman. Let's do this right. Okay, so what it does is that it will create the prompt for you, so you don't have to write the prompt yourself. And that's very helpful in the fact that Midjourney works best in English. And sometimes we have a lot of journalists who are not very strong in English, so English is not their first language. So they find it hard to produce images using Midjourney. So they go to ChatGPT and they write their prompt in Arabic, asking it to create a prompt for Midjourney to create the image that they're looking for. And there it is. It produces this prompt that you can see in front of you, which is very detailed. And of course, a lot of it is like generated by ChatGPT at the end of the day. So if we go to our Create tab, it's going to show me some images that were generated by Midjourney. And this is exactly what I was talking to you about. If you look at the image, you can see it's more realistic because Midjourney tends to go to the more realistic approach compared to DALL-E or ChatGPT. And the good thing about it is that, it produces 4 different versions. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. And if you look at the side, the creation actions, you can modify or you can edit the image as you wish. So maybe you want a higher quality image for printing. Maybe you want to zoom in more. So let's try to zoom in, for example, at this image and see what's going to produce. Maybe you want to create a more pan. So maybe you want to move more towards the right or the left or up or down. Maybe you don't like them all, so you can produce another version of the prompt that you've just asked it to create. But again, we always have to be careful about what we ask it to do, and we have to set our ethical values when it comes to the production or the generation of images in particular. Aside from the attribution and adding the credit, which is AI generated or AI assisted, like we said, some media organizations tend to ban the use of or the production of any generated images because in some way or the other, this contributes to the idea of spreading misinformation with imagery. Other organizations decided through their ethical approach not to portray people's faces. So you can maybe produce an image of a market, or maybe an image of like a sea or a beach, but no real life faces of people, because that's kind of unethical for them. So it's not like a one case fits all or one size fits all. It has to be taken case by case. And answering Khalil's question, this is paid. Midjourney is paid, so you have to be a subscriber in order to be able to use its feature. So let's go back to when it's zoomed. I don't know if it zoomed in or zoomed out, but apparently it zoomed kind of like out. But you can see it's the same image that we asked it for, but it kind of showed us the man, which is a little bit far away from the photograph. So and it, of course, it's showing me different components to the sides that were zoomed out, as we can see. So I'm just going to take you a little bit through some of the imageries that I have produced previously. One of the most important issues with the production of imagery is bias. So, for example, sometimes I ask it, let's go back to this example. I asked it to produce an image of two journalists working, and it just gave me men, not taking into consideration that there could be women journalists, for example. I'll take you to another example. Sometimes I asked it to, these are my drawings for my workshops, but never mind. Sometimes I ask it, for example, to create images of Arabs, for example, like an Arab journalist. And this is the stereotype of an Arab journalist. Not that there is anything wrong with that, but the idea is that it just keeps the idea in a stereotypical approach. The same thing happens here. So I asked it here to produce an image of two women journalists. One is Muslim, and again, it took into consideration that all Muslim women wear the hijab. So that's also an issue with the data that we've spoken about at the beginning. That's an issue with the data and how biased these data could be. So this is something that we should be careful with, because at the end of the day, and that's a very important idea, which is never take the work of AI as is. Try always to, fix or, edit or add your touch, because there's something very important which is called human in the loop, which means that we're not letting AI take over and we're just, doing nothing. We are part of the process. AI is there just to help us and assist us. So be careful with that. A third tool that I want to show you refers back to, I think, one of our colleagues, Alice, summarizing minutes of meeting. So I personally use this tool because I think it's a very great tool. This tool, Transcriptor, it does automatic transcription in multi-languages. If we have more than one speaker, it identifies the speaker, and it does something called AI Assist for summarization. So Transcriptor is what we call a freemium model. A freemium model means that part of it is free, so it gives you a few minutes that are free, but the rest you have to subscribe. So what you have to do is that on your dashboard, you go to your upload, and you can upload any file which is this format. So sometimes I do my meetings and I upload it to this to this tool, or sometimes I have my meeting minutes and I upload, my recording, and I upload it to this tool. So once I upload it, let me just upload a file here. for you to see. So this is a file in Arabic. I just have to specify the language, and I'm going to ask it to transcribe and see what it's going to produce for me. So what it does is that it will transcribe everything that is said with the time code. So if I go to this file, for example, this is from let it just upload. Let me go to another one here. That one is still processing. Okay, so this is a transcription of a speech in Arabic, and as you can see, because it's one speaker, so it's going to always specify it as speaker one, and this is going to add for me the time code for when was this sentence said. The beautiful thing about it is that you can also download, so you can download it in different format, Word, text, PDF, CSV, whatever you want. And you can specify how big do you want the paragraph. So maybe I don't want every sentence to be on a time code. I want like a full paragraph to be on a big time code, so I can specify that. And the most important thing is that on the side, so on the left-hand side, it's going to look at what is written and it's going to summarize it in terms of like main points. So that's exactly what Alice was referring to in terms of summarizing the minutes of the meeting. And here you don't have to add any prompt. You just have to upload your file and it's going to do that automatically. So for example, if you press on any of these different points that are in front of us, it is going to describe to you or explain to you from whatever has been mentioned in the file. Sorry, it looks like I downloaded an Arabic file rather than an English file, so apologies for that. But again, it works with Arabic, it works with English, it works with all the languages that you can work with in terms of transcription and in terms of summarization. And as I said, this is a freemium tool, so you can use it for you can use a certain number of minutes in terms of like the audio or video material that you can upload so that you can transcribe and you can summarize the main points. It doesn't become, no, this is one of the most important things about this tool is that the privacy is very high. So this is not for learning. Unlike ChatGPT is more of like an open source. So that's why it would take the information or the data that you feed it and it will learn from it. But this one, it doesn't, because you would have to register with your account. You would have to, for example, you can link it to your Google Drive, which makes it safer and makes your data more private. So no worries about that at all. But of course, and thank you for raising that point, Hannah, there you will find a lot of tools in the world, you know, like AI tools, but be careful what you actually download, because some tools might be made by companies that are unethical, or some made by companies that don't pay a lot of attention to privacy. So you know, that box that appears with the rules and conditions and, you know, regulations and so on, that we just press accept and move on. With AI, I think we should a little bit be careful with that, and we should at least investigate what are we downloading on our phones and on our computers. Okay, one of my favorite tools is Writer. Writer is a tool that you can that is very similar to ChatGPT, but I'll show you what's the difference between this one and ChatGPT. So if you can open, this is again a freemium tool. So part of it is free, but a lot of it is not free. You have to pay for it. So let's call this test, for example, and let's create it. So it creates a new document. And remember on ChatGPT how we used to say, you know, like write me an article or a social media post, friendly in tone, for LinkedIn, and you have to specify a lot of things. This tool does it all for you in terms of, on the left-hand side, you just have to specify the different use cases that you want to be applied to your post, and it will do it all for you. So for example, you can select your language, and as you can see, it's available in so many languages. available in Arabic, in English, in Czech, in French, German, all the different languages that are used. The other thing that I really like about this is the tone. So, you know, sometimes we write things that are more casual, but sometimes we need to be more assertive. And sometimes there are certain words that I'm not even personally sure about the difference between them, but there is a difference. So what this tool gives you, sorry, what this tool gives you is different sets of voices, different sets of tones that you can use between formal and between humorous. So let's try it. So for example, or let me finish first and then let's try it together. And here you can choose your use cases. So whether you are writing a blog idea, whether you are writing an email or an email reply or a Facebook post, or even my best one, poem generator. It can even generate a poem for you, which is great. I mean, some people have tried it and it actually produced some good poems for them. And all those different use cases that you can use it for. You can even use it for SEO meta description, SMS and notification, and so on. And then here you have to write your main message, your key message, and who is this targeting? So let's say that I want to write an email and I want to invite AFF members to a training on AI tools, okay? And in the first email, let's be, for example, convincing. Let's try to convince our community to join this training. I can produce two variants, so I can ask it to give me two variations so that I can look at it. But for now, let's make it one. And you can define what level of creativity do you want it to be. So let's keep it at optimal and let's wait for it to write for us. So it's going to produce an email. I'm sorry, we specified this in Arabic. I'm sorry, I should make this in English. Set default language. Okay, let's do this in English. Okay. Okay, great. So let's go back and try with the test. Okay, now it's in English. So let's ask it to write again. So it's going to write for me another email that is in English and that is convincing. You can go through it very quickly. And meanwhile, I want to produce another one, which is more, I saw something which is funny. So let's try something which is funny and let's ask it to write for me. And let's compare both. So if you look at both, you're going to see the difference. You can see the difference even visually. So the subject, exclusive invitation here, while here it says, unleash your inner AI wizard. I would definitely come to the workshop if I had this email sent to me, for sure. So it just shows you the difference between how can we write, you know, different text and generate different text with different use cases and different tools. The one thing that I also want to mention to you, and which is very important in this tool, is that, you know, some organizations, they have this voice for them. So they have a specific voice that makes them different than any other organization elsewhere. And this is something that you can create. So if you go to select, there is something here called My Voice. And if I create new, it's going to take me to a page that I can list the different components of how I want my voice to be on this website. So this is also a good tool that we encourage you to try out with, and good that some parts of it are free, so you can play around and see to what extent you can definitely use it. Canva. How many of you use Canva? Just write one in the chat. If so, Nihal uses Canva, I can see. If you use Canva, just write one. Meanwhile, I can express my love to Canva. To be honest, one of the best tools that I use in my life, and a tool that helps me a lot with everything, starting from designing manuals to social media posts to presentations and so on. But what I really like about Canva, and let me just open Canva very quick. What I really like about Canva, so if I want to create a design, let's just go to a Facebook post, for example, any design. What I really like about Canva is the idea that I can I can create things. So, for example, if I need a presentation and I don't like any of the templates, I can just write any words that describe the presentation that I want, and it will do it for me. Another thing is, let me go to uploads, for example. So let's go to this image, for example. What I really like about it is if I go to edit, there's something here called the Magic Studio. So the Magic Studio allows me to do so many things. It allows me to remove the background. So for example, sometimes, for example, in our forum, we receive pictures from speakers with some, very colorful backgrounds. And we just need the faces to be placed on a kind of a simple background. So we use the background remover just to extract the foreground from the background. You can use the magic eraser. So for example, maybe I don't want the star, so I can just delete it like this. And it will, if I erase it, it will vanish. It will not be there anymore in the image. That is one use of the AI feature in this tool. So voila, it's not there anymore. Another thing is the magic grab. So maybe, for example, I want to, let's say I want to grab this image and I want to, let's say, put it, let me grab it again. Okay, let's grab it and see where is it going to take me. So maybe I want to grab it and put it somewhere else. So that's another use of AI tools to separate the different. Oh, it didn't do it for me. Okay, never mind. Maybe because this is very small, but it's okay. Another thing is, for example, if you have text or if you want to expand an image, sometimes we get images that are shot vertically, but we want them to be, expanded more to the sides. So we can also use the Magic Studio in order to do that. So I guess the most important thing with those tools is yeah, you're right, Khalil. You are absolutely right. It just, I think it grabbed the whole thing instead of the star because I selected the whole thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. So it grabbed it. Thank you very much. I guess the most important thing or the best thing to do is open Canva and try or play around. But these features are available in the paid version. So this is something also to pay attention to. Kurt is asking what tools would be helpful to create line drawings, cartoons as narrational proceeds for both. I would leave this question till the end because I have a little surprise for you. So you might be very happy seeing what we're going to be seeing at the end. Thank you, Kurt, for the very good question. So I guess, again, as we said, and by the way, on Canva, you can also create photos. So you can generate photos by going to something called there's something called apps. So if we go to apps here, so you would have a lot of features or plugins that you can actually use for translation, for image generation, for animation, and so on. And this feature is actually available in Canva, which you can use. Great, thank you, Khalil, for the very good tip. Yes, absolutely. So if you are an NGO, a nonprofit organization, there is the accounts are free, which is great. So make use of that if you are if you want to use Canva in your work. Moving on to our sixth tool, I hope the tools until now are kind of interesting and, like you're kind of getting into another world of AI other than ChatGPT. So a big and important part of what we do in our work is fact-checking, because there is a lot of, misinformation and disinformation going around and, affecting the general public and opinion and so on. So part of it is images that are AI generated. And with the current US elections, there is a lot of use of those AI generated. So I'm going to show you this very good tool, which you can use to see if an image is actually an AI generated or is it not. So let's go and upload our image. So for example, this image, and see what it's going to tell us. So this image, it says it's likely AI generated, and that's actually true. If I look at this image with my own eyes, I'm gonna say, no, this is actually a true image. It's not AI generated, but there are certain criteria which these tools look into that our own eyes these days cannot see. But notice something. It said likely AI generated. It didn't say AI generated for sure, which means that there are still some discrepancies in these tools that makes them not 100% sure that these are AI generated images or not. Now, the good thing about this tool is that it also helps you know whether an audio is AI generated or not. So this tool is designed for both videos and images and for audio. And there is an upcoming feature which is for video as well. Okay, great. I'm making sure I answered all questions, and thank you very much, Nihal, for helping me with all those questions. Okay, great. So let's move on. But now we are gonna do some drawing, but this time for real. So what I want you to do is that I'm gonna put this website. Okay, it doesn't always work, so I have to go to here. So I want you to go to this website. So I'm gonna put it in the chat, auto draw. And I want you to draw anything that comes to your head. Maybe a stick man, maybe a walking banana, maybe a sleeping sun, anything that comes to your mind. Just draw it. So I'm gonna draw like a stick man. I'm not a very good artist, so I'm just gonna draw this guy here. So I want you to do the same. Okay. And then after you draw, right click on your image, and I want you to save it. So you save your image and keep it for later. We're gonna visit later. So let's take a couple of minutes to do that, and then we can revisit this later. So whenever you're done, just put 1 in the chat so that I know most of you are done with their artistic drawings. And take your time, you have 2 minutes. So I think a lot can happen in 2 minutes. Remember, after you're done, just to right click and save your image, because we're gonna need that in a bit. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 1s, which is great. I can't wait to see your drawings. Great. And of course, anytime you have any question, just add it in the chat. We'll look right into it directly. Great, another 30 seconds.
Hannah, sorry. Hannah had a question, but I'll get back to that later. Samia, do you right click to save, did you say?
Yes, so you just
Okay.
right click and you will have this little window that says save image as or copy image. We're gonna save our image and then name it something.
It's not doing that for me when I right click on the image.
Okay, if you can't, you can maybe do a screenshot for
Gotcha.
the image. It
Okay.
would still be good to do a
Okay.
screenshot. So
Thank you.
if you don't know, if you didn't get the menu, just do a screenshot.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so Nihal, you said Hannah had a question. I think, yeah, I
Yes.
see it now.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not like a memory. I would call it like a data set. So it's a lot of data sets that it's learning from, and it is giving you the outcomes as a result of learning from this data set. So in one way or the other, yes, it is kind of the same aspect. It's kind of the same model. Great. By the way, sometimes if I answer the question and you still feel that I haven't answered it clearly, just state that in the chat. I would be more than happy to elaborate more on the answers. Great. Okay, so everybody has a drawing now, I guess, so we can move on and go back. So keep those drawings in a safe place because we are going to look at them in a bit. Okay. If you work a lot with PDFs, especially if you are part of a academics, or like you are part of a research center and you have to read a lot and sometimes you don't have the time to do that, this is a very good tool which is called Chat PDF. So not Chat GPT, Chat PDF. In this document, or sorry, in this tool, you can upload any PDF file. So let's go ahead, and I have this file here which I'm going to upload. Oh, okay. So, sorry, I have used all my, so I already uploaded it. So we'll have a look at what I uploaded. But because again, this is a freemium tool, so it offers you a set number of PDFs that you can upload per day. But this is the PDF file that I have uploaded. So it's going to show me the file in this panel. And then it's going to also show me here some summary of the PDF file. And it's going to show me some example questions that I can ask out of this file. So whatever you want to ask, it's going to derive all the answers from the PDF that you have uploaded. But you know what is really exciting about this tool is the idea that sometimes the PDFs have charts. So like line chart or pie chart, or sometimes they have like tables that are something like this, that are very hard, sometimes to look at and pay attention to details and so on. So what you can do is that you can grab part of the document, which is by pressing here, and then you can grab your table, and it's going to go take it to the chat panel on the side, and it's going to tell you exactly what's going on inside this table in terms of like what are the numbers, the main findings, if there is any sort of analysis that is given. So some of the main findings on the main highlights of the table, and that applies to any kind of chart or any kind of line chart or pie chart that you would find in those PDFs or in research papers. So this is also a very important tool because it gives the summary. It's very user-friendly when it comes to charts and so on, and it would give you some points of what to ask, so suggested questions that you can ask to get answers out of these PDFs. So this is a very good tool that you can use, and it does translation as well. So whatever you produced as part of your right panel, you can always translate it into different languages. Another good so Hannah is asking, can it analyze financial statements? So if you have the financial statement in the sort of like a chart, or like a line chart table or anything, it would do that. But even if you have it in terms of like text, like written text, I don't know, like sometimes maybe you would have things that are written in like paragraphs and so on, you would actually be able to grab that as well, drop it in your right panel, and it will definitely do that. So yes, if it's in PDF format, it would be able to definitely do that. Can I ask it to extract text like OCR? I haven't tried that, to be honest, to extract text, but let's try. Maybe, yeah, so if you highlight the text, it can explain it, it can summarize it, it can rewrite it, or it can copy it. So it would copy it and take it to the next panel. So you would have it here. And then, for example, you would say, explain this to me, or maybe translate this to me, or things like that. But since you already copied it from here and you actually chose copy, you are able to take it to any other document like a Google Doc or a Word doc or anything like that. So I guess, you know, there are some features that we're always exploring together. So it's not only you that's learning, it's me also that is learning from these different features. Okay. The eighth tool that we're going to be talking about today is Elicit. Elicit is a very good tool, especially for people who are looking for research papers. So if I go to Elicit, for example, here, and I sign in, oh, I have it on my other account. Let me just go to my other account here. Okay. So on Elicit, I would ask it any question. So for example, the water pollution issue in the Middle East, for example. Okay, and then I would, so it's the concept of everything that we're talking about today is based on conversational bots. So I would ask a question, it would give me an answer. This answer could be in the form of text, it could be in the form of videos, images, audio, research papers, and so on. So what it did here is that, and of course, again, this is a freemium type of tool. So it would give me a summary of the 4 papers, the top 4 papers. If I am subscribed, it would give me 4 more. And then it would list for me here the different research papers that it found answering my question. Now, what I really like about this is that it has columns. So you have the paper title, you have the summary of the paper, but here you can add other columns. So maybe I want to find the main findings of each paper without having to go and look in each paper. So it would list for me here the different findings. Maybe I need to find the things that has to do with the limitations or the outcome measured or intervention or even the methodology. So it would appear to me in terms of columns summarized based on the research paper that was put for me or placed for me here. So for people who work in research, for people who are in universities, research centers, and so on, this is a very important tool that they can use. Moving on to, I guess we have just a couple of tools before our bonus tool. Our ninth tool is also, this is one of the tools that are very dear to my heart, which are editing tools. And I picked for you 2 tools that are both for Arabic and for English. So Grammarly is a very good tool that fixes your, you know, like grammar, spelling mistakes, writing style. Sometimes, as we said, you know, like I'm not in the mood for writing, or I'm not getting the best out of what I'm writing, and so on. So this tool would actually help you develop your style in writing. It does text generation like we did with ChatGPT. The most important thing is that it does plagiarism detection, and that's very important, especially in the fields that, you know, have content creation in them, like media, journalism, academics, and so on. The other tool is Qalam. Qalam is also the same as Grammarly. The difference is that it's in Arabic, so it focuses on Arabic. So if you need somebody to edit, proofread, look at mistakes, style adjustments, and so on, Qalam would actually be a very good tool to use as well. Now, I want also to bring to your attention a very good tool that we have developed at ARIJ, which is the AFCN chatbot. So I know there is a lot of, you know, like a lot of information, a lot of content that is going around in terms of pictures, images. Some are fake, some are AI generated, and it's very hard for us to keep track of what's actually true and what's not. So we have developed the AFCN chatbot, which is a chatbot on WhatsApp, which is a number that you can just reach out to, and it is based and works using AI, which you can send any picture, any video, any piece of news, any text to it, and it will actually tell you whether it will verify it. It will tell you whether this is actually true or it is fake. I'm gonna also I also included the number in your tip sheet, which you're gonna get at the end after this session. Just to mention that this is just in Arabic, hoping that one day we can expand to cover other languages as well. But this is a very important tool that we're hoping that could be replicated now. There are replicas in other languages, but we hope that people will start using more often, because we believe that fact checkers is not just the work of to work with journalists or, you know, like media people. Everybody should be a fact checker. Everybody should be checking what images they see, what videos they watch, and what text do they read, and so on. So just wanted to show you this this tool, which also provides fact-checking news about what are the latest trends in terms of fact checks on social media. We have a monthly newsletter, and it has some educational material for people who are interested in developing their skills when it comes to fact checking. I think Khalil had a question. If I'm looking for a legal authorized updated document to use in an investigation, what's the best website I should depend on? As part of ARIJ, we actually have something called Data Desk. So Khalil, I'm gonna leave my email at the end. So please email me and I can help you with that to just, you know, understand what you're looking for, and probably our team can help you with that. So that should be not a problem at all. Okay, so remember our drawing. Can you get your drawings? This is what we're gonna be doing. So I'm gonna paste this link on your chat. I want everybody to log into this chat. And then we are going to press on try it now. So, okay, accept. Okay, so remember the drawings you did? We want to upload them here. So I want everybody to go to upload photo, and I want you to upload the image that you just drew, which is, I don't know, walking banana, stick man, so on. This is my blue stick man. I'm very, I don't know how am I going to see your drawings, but at least, I mean, it's going to show with an emoji if you like it or not. So that's enough for me for now. Okay, so everybody has a drawing that's uploaded. We're going to go to next. It's going to ask you to, define the borders of your drawing so that it understands where the shape is. So if the border is coming or covering part of your drawing, expand it so that the whole drawing is actually within the frame that that is in front of you. So let's resize the border so that it covers the the drawing that you just did. After that, we're going to go to next. So it's all next. On my drawing, it's showing me the area that I drew as white area with a blue border. So make sure that your drawing is actually covered all in white and blue border. So if there is an area that is not covered, make sure that you use the pen at the bottom to highlight it so that it is actually within the white area, so that, because this is how it understands the body that it's going to work with in a bit. So make sure that your whole drawing, not the background, the foreground is actually covered and ready to go. We're going to click on next after that. So what it's trying to do is that it's trying to move it, to animate it. So what you're going to see now is that it identifies certain areas or certain points sorry, in the body that we have, in which these could be the joints. So for example, the hands, the legs, the face, the head, and so on. So it identified some joints which it can work with. And this is all determined by AI. So this is all AI generated, whether identifying the drawing area, whether identifying where the joints should be, and so on. So after you click on next, you can choose your animation. You can choose this silly looking move, or you can make it, oh, what happened? Let me try again. Oh, please. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna do that all over again, just because my computer decided to go crazy. Okay, I'll do it very quick. Next. Okay, we decided on the joints and so on. Okay, so I decided I want maybe, okay, so it picked this for me. So my stickman started to move. And as we said, this is all AI generated. It determined where the joints are, what the drawing is and it created that animation. I don't know, I think Kurt, you might have asked this question before. I don't know if that would help somehow. But you can always go to Midjourney, ask it to create some sort of a drawing that you're looking for, and then take it to animated drawings, and it will do some sort of an animation for you. So let's try something else. So maybe this one, for example, if it's gonna work. Okay, kind of, which okay, great, Kurt, it gets you started. And that's it. So maybe if you wanna, I don't know, it doesn't take a link. So I really want to see like how you like it with an emoji on the chat. So if you really like it, maybe a very happy emoji. If it's meh, you don't like it, maybe another emoji. So please add your emojis. Let me see how excited you were to be seeing such a such a fun tool to end our presentation with. But just before I end, I just also want to invite you to visit our ARIJ AI strategy website. It's in Arabic, but remember, with AI tools, you can always translate. So we have developed this tool in order to help small and medium-sized newsrooms understand how they can equip AI in their work. Because it's not just about the use of tools, it's about the culture, it's about the mentality, it's about understanding, why do I need AI in my work? And of course, if you want to talk to us about AI, or if you want to ask any further questions, I'm available on this email and be very happy to help you with anything that you need. And I want to say thank you to Walid and Nihal and to AFF for hosting us. And thank you very much. Shukran.
Everyone, if we could just open our cameras for a second and take a picture with Samia, we would really appreciate that. Just for us before you leave, that would be great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I got it. Thank you so much. And actually, Marwa had a question, Samia, just before you leave. I think she asked if Canva is for free.
So part of it is for free, but the features that we've described are part of the paid subscription. So technically for free, but the features are not free.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Well,
Thank you,
Samia, thank you so much. That was so informative and so interactive and so, oh my God, an eye-opener. I didn't know that all of those tools, when we talk about AI, all what comes into my mind is just ChatGPT. Even we use Canva at the Arab Foundations Forum, but as a mean of producing presentations. We never even thought of all of the features that are in there. This is just amazing. So I think on behalf of the whole of the AFF family and everyone is in the room, we want to really thank you. That was just great.
Thank you very much. We're always here for if anybody wants to reach out for more AI talk. And again, Walid and Nihal and AFF, thank you very much for hosting us. I enjoyed it myself, and I hope everybody did.
Yes,
Thank
you, Samia, so much.
Great.
Thank you all.
I'm going to be doodling today.
Oh, please, yes. You're helping the tool learn even better.
Right.
Well, thanks everyone. Before we end the session, I just want to thank you all for your time and for attending the session with us today. Following up with an email containing all the tip sheet that Samia has talked about, our post-session survey, and of course the recording of the session, as for future reference, will be available on AFF website and YouTube channel. And maybe we'll do a repeat very soon.
Would love that for sure.
Thank you so much and have a beautiful evening or beautiful rest of the day.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye.